Hi, welcome to my channel. My name's Violet and this is my January reads. Most of the books that I get are from the library, so I actually don't have a lot of the books that I read in January, but I have two, so we'll start with those. I read Right Where We Belong, which is 3 little novellas, Deborah Rainey, Melissa Tagg, and Courtney Walsh. I read it for Melissa Tagg because I love all her books, and luckily I wrote it down in my journal. The first one was a 7 out of 10. I remember not liking the first one by Deborah Rainey. Never heard of her before, so Melissa Tagg's I rated a 10 out of 10, and I'm like rating it because they are novellas, so I'm only expecting what you can expect from a novella, because like a book that is actually this thick and is a full book is definitely going to be better than a tiny novella, unless like the novella's like amazing, but like normally. So that's what I'm like basing my rating off of, is what it is. And then I rated the Courtney Walsh's 9 out of 10, which I know a lot of people like Courtney Walsh, so maybe I'll have to start reading some of her books because I don't think I've ever read any. Also read Anne of Green Gables, but Anne's House of Dreams, which is the 5th, and I own all the rest of them, so I'm trying to read the next. But at the end of, I love the way Anne's House of Dreams is written. I love the way Ella Montgomery writes and everything, and it kind of encapsulates how I think and everything, but she always writes the end of her book so sad, or like melancholy, I guess, nostalgic, and I cry for like a day on it, and so I kind of like put off reading them, and then when I do, I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this so much, and then it ends, and I'm like, this is why I don't read them very quickly. I read Harriet Tubman, The Moses of Her People. I read it for school, and I love learning about Harriet Tubman. I have all my life, but I did not like the way the author wrote it, because we went from like this point in her life to like this point over here, and on the same chapter, and it was very hard to, like, I don't think I actually learned much because it was just hard to follow. So, do with that you will. I read The Great Gatsby. The Great Gatsby, I feel like, and I hate saying this because I saw something today that was like, most of F. Scott Fitzgerald's work was actually written by his wife, so I might just sound stupid saying that it feels like the inside of a guy's head if it was actually written by a woman. But to me, and if it was, that's amazing, because I feel like she perfectly encapsulated how it is to be in a guy's head. And I can't say she perfectly encapsulated it because I'm not a guy, but I've grown up with only brothers, and I feel like that's how they are to me. Anyway, I'm off track. I think it was really nicely written. I like the story and everything, but it was just hard for me to understand it. Once I watched the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio and Tobey Maguire, I understood it a little bit more, and I think that helped me understand it. But the book in itself is I think it's amazing. So I'm a Christian teenager, right? And a lot of the books that are catered for my age have a lot of stuff in it, like spice, that I do not want to be reading. So it is very hard for me to see something online and people be like, and they're like, oh, it's amazing and it's spice free, and it's like, but are our terms of spice free the same? So recently I've decided to check all the ratings, see who's recommending them, stuff like that, because I wanted to read the popular book talk books, if you will, to see if they live up to the hype. So that's what I've been doing. I read Defy the Night by Brigid Kemmerer. It's E-R-E-R at the end. Kemmerer. I loved this book. I was ready to rate it 5 stars up until the last 50 pages when there was a scene and I was like, it just kind of ruined the whole book for me. Would I recommend it to a Christian adult? Yes, no question. A teenager, or not even just a Christian, just like an adult, you can read it. A teenager, someone my age, yeah, I'm sure people have higher, like, they can stomach it better than I can. Higher tolerance is the word I was going for. And I would definitely recommend it because the plot was really good. I loved the plot. I suck at doing summaries, so I'm not even going to try. But I fully recommend it. I really liked it. I rated it 4 stars out of 5. Next, I read XOXO by Axio, which is, I'm guessing, a Korean name, and I'm for sure butchering it. So, my bad. That one was good. Content levels, it was definitely closed door, like 100%. And they didn't get into depth in anything. Like, there was kisses and stuff, but, like, they didn't really get in depth in anything. They said a few things that were, like, and there's definitely language. There was language in this book. No F words, but, like, pretty much everything else. Which I've never really had a problem with language, until it becomes excessive. Of course, I don't cuss personally, but I've never really had a problem with it in the secular world anyway, unless it's just too much, like to a point where it's not even, you're not even using it in the way it was intended anymore. Anyway, I can give you a good rundown for this one because I already gave it to my mom, so I'm like well versed in this rundown. Basically, there's this girl, Korean girl, she lives in LA. She meets this guy at her uncle's like karaoke pub bar, and they like have a fun night together. They go to like this, I know it's not a carnival, but like the only word that's coming to my head, but it's something that was similar to that, some sort of festival thing, and they had like a lot of fun. But he had to leave like that day to go to Korea where he lives. Well, come to find out, like a few months later, her grandma is sick and she lives in Seoul, could be wrong. Anyway, Korea. So she goes there and she finds out that this guy was like he's like a really popular K-pop idol. I know nothing about K-pop, like pretty much nothing. The only band I could tell you is BTS, just because like they're basically pop at this point, which K-pop might be pop, I don't even know. So I feel like I can't talk about it because then I'm gonna get hated on because I have no idea what I'm talking about. Anyway, she goes to this performance art school because she is a musician, and the guy goes there too, and then like basically they fall in love, but it's like kind of forbidden romance. I really liked it. I rated it 4 out of 5 stars, which I rarely rate 5 stars that way. Like, my 5 stars can be special. Don't know why I didn't mention this, but Defy the Night and XOXO were both from the start of February, but I'm recording this a few days into February, so I've already read a few books. So there's that, but I'm going to add them into this video anyway because why not? So, yeah, I read 7 books last month. 1, 2, 3. It said I read it. Yeah, what's with that? I'm sorry. I'm on my laptop. I'm on Goodreads, so I pretty much don't want to do it because I'm using my phone, so I don't know how to get to when I need it. Usually my phone just because I recently read, but I don't want to do that on my laptop. Might be super stupid, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's up. Yeah, and then, ha. 9 books, 9 books this year. Found that. Okay. I knew I was reading more books. Yeah, okay. Okay. That was a bit of a ride, but we're back. I read Persuasion by Jane Austen this month as well. Ooh, this is my Loch Ness Monster bookmark. I love it so much, but it does not work as a bookmark. I just put it there in my bookshelf as like a cute thing. But yeah, I got it. Persuasion. What did I think about Persuasion? I loved Persuasion. Like, I really, really like this book. I know that the consensus is that it's pretty much no one's favorite Jane Austen book, but it's amazing. Like, I really liked it. It's not my favorite either. It was good. I really, really, really like Persuasion. If you don't know what it's about, it's basically like a second chance love in the Regency era. This girl, Anne Elliot, still remember her name, which never happened, so I must have liked this book. Anyway, this girl, Anne Elliot, her dad is a snob, her sister is a snob, her other sister is constantly pretending to be ill, or like they say in the book, fancying herself ill. And her only confidant, her only friend is her late mother's best friend, Lady Russell, and the only guy she ever loved, she was persuasion, into not loving, and it's kind of like a second chance love with them, and it's just so sweet. I also read An Elegant Facade by Christie Ann Hunter this month, which is the second book to the Hawthorne House. I don't know if you call it, it's not a trilogy because there's 4 books. Is it a quadrilogy? I've never heard anyone say, because they say duology, trilogy, but is it a qualogy? I don't know. There's 4 books in it. Anyway, this is the second. Did I like the first better? Did I like this one better? I don't know. They're both rated 5 stars, and I loved them both. The Regency era, mixed with spies. The first one is like super, super cute. The first one is like adventures with each other. They're like talking to each other when no one knows, falling in love, but she doesn't know who he is. She finds out who he is. He has to regain her. That type of story. That's the first one. So good. Second one is, honestly, I almost want to say I like the second one better, just because of the character development in the main character was amazing. You think she's a snob, you think she's an idiot, and she kind of was, okay? But at the same time, she's doing it all to hide this secret that's in her, which technically the secret was a secret from the audience, but I kind of guessed it from the beginning, so it wasn't a secret for me. But it was a secret, so I'm not going to tell you. Anyway, and this guy sees through it, and read it, please. The Lost Manuscript, Raleigh.
Nope.
The Lost Manuscript.
Nope.
The Lost Manuscript, Molly Rushmire. Molly Rushmire is like my new favorite gal. I love her. She's only come out with 2 books, but she has another one coming out this September, I think. I've read both of the 2 books that she's put out. 5-starred them both. The first one was amazing. You can tell in her books that she loves the old order classics and stuff. In the first book I read particularly, I think it's called The Bookshop of Secrets, but I'll put it here. Specifically, you can tell how much, like, poetry, books, Jane Austen, Anne of Green Gables, you can just tell how much the author knows about it all and puts it into the book, and I just love it so much. Like, the character's name was named after my favorite poem at the time anyway. Hope is the Thing with the Feathers by someone. Anyway, the second one was just as good. It is A Second Chance Love, which I don't really like Second Chance Love, actually, I'm gonna be honest, but this was really good. Usually I don't like Second Chance Love because the reason they're getting a second chance is because one of them was so rude to the other. Always just breaks my heart. And that's what this did, but like in a good way. And it was really, really sweet to see. It was really adorable, and like, if you haven't read anything of Raleigh Rushmire, apparently is her name. Her books, if you haven't read any of if you haven't read any of Molly Rushmire's books, then I don't know what you're doing. You should get up and go read them. That's all I have to say. Okay. That is my January reads. I thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and see you next time.